Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Naam Sankirtan ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Chandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Shobhana Krishna Das Prabhu ji ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Welcome all once more, all devotees from our Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, daily Srimad Bhagavatam reading morning session. Hare Krishna. So Wednesday was the last class which we took. Thursday was due to the special call program. The reading session was not there. So today we will start with the new chapter, chapter number 10. So actually it was just we started reading the introduction, but all of them are new. I mean, only Sadhananda Pariji was there, those who are from Wednesdays. So we'll read from chapter 10, starting position, and we'll continue with Shravana Pariji's nectarian class. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamadire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Ruttama Shloke Bhaktar Bhavati Nashtagi Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pavibham Gedegirim Yat Karvadam Ahamande Paramananda Madhavam Sri Gurum Dinadarinam Sri Chaitanyamesharam Om Jnana Vidandasya Jnananjana Shalagaya Chashudum Nididam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stabidam Yena Bhudale Swam Dubhagadamahim Dadam Disabadandiyam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yudavadagamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagarjadam Sakana Regunadhanidam Dam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadudam Marijanasavidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Badan Sagana Lalada Sri Vishakanyadamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagalpade Gopesha Gopiga Kanta Radha Kanta Namastuti Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavani Shri Vrishabhana Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarupya Chakrupa Sandhupya Vachapatitanam Bhavane Bhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhudale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nidinamine Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vachatya Deshakarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gavirabhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Vishnu 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 Krishna. So we'll start when the chapter number 10. Entitled, the chapter name is The Discussion Between Jadabharata and Maharaja Rahugan. So, Prabhuji, I will start with reading the introduction and.
Yes, Prabhuji, please, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. In this chapter, Bharata Maharaja now Jadaparida, was successfully accepted by King Rahugana, ruler of the states known as Sindhu and Suvira. The king forced Jadaparida to carry his palanquin and chastised him because he did not carry it properly. A carrier of King Rahugana's palanquin was needed, and to fulfill this need, the chief carriers found Jadaparida as the most likely person to do the work. He was therefore forced to carry the palanquin. Jadaparida, however, did not protest this proud order, but humbly accepted the job and carried the palanquin. While carrying it, however, he was very careful to see that he did not step on an ant, and whenever he saw one, he would stop carrying it. However, he was very careful to see that he did not step on an ant, and whenever he saw one, he would stop until the ant had passed. Because of this, he could not keep pace with the other carriers. The king within the palanquin became very disturbed and chastised Jadaparida with filthy language, but Jadaparida, being completely freed from the bodily conception, did not protest. He proceeded carrying the palanquin. When he continued as before, the king threatened him with punishment, and being threatened by the king, Jadaparida began to talk. He protested against the filthy language used by the king when the king chastised him, and the king, hearing the instruction of Jadaparida, was awakened to his real knowledge. When he came to his consciousness, he understood that he had offended a great, learned, and saintly person. At the time, he very humbly and respectfully prayed to Jadaparida. He now wanted to understand the deep meaning of the philosophical words used by Jadaparida, and with great sincerity, he begged his pardon. He admitted that if one offends the lotus feet of a pure devotee, he is certainly punished by the trident of Lord Shiva. That is the introduction. So we go to verse number 1. 5.10.1. Hare Krishna. Sri Shukauvacha Atha Sindhu Sauvirapate Rehuganasya Vrajada Ichumatyastade Tatkulapadina Shibikavaha Purushaneshana Samaye Deivenopasaditaha Sa Dijavara Uvalabdha Eva Piva Yuva Samhananam Gogaravadhuram Vodu Malamidi Purva Vishti Grihidaiha Saha Grihidaha Prasabhamadadrha Uvaha Shibikam Samahanubhavam. Shukauvacha Atha Sindhu Sauvirapade Rehuganasya Vrajada Ichudastyastade Tatkulapadina Shibikavaha Purusha Aneshana Samaye Deivenopasaditaha sa dijavara uvalabdha eva piva yuva samhananam goharavadhuram vodu malamiti purva vishtigrihidaiha sahagrihidaha samabhamadadarha uvaha shibigamsa mahanubhavaha. Hare Krishna. Translation purport by only translation. Translation Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Shukdev Goswami continued. My dear king, after this, King Rahugana, ruler of the states known as Sindhu and Sevaya, was going to Kapilashrama. When the king's chief palanquin carriers reached the banks of the river Ikshumadi, they needed another carrier. Therefore, they began searching for someone. And by chance, they came upon Jadabharata. They considered the fact that Jadabharata was very young and strong and had firm limbs. Like cows and asses, he was quite fit to carry loads. Thinking in this way, although the great soul Jadabharata was unfit for such work, they nonetheless unhesitatingly forced him to carry the palanquin. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Prabhu, I think there is no purport, Prabhu. We can go to the next one and then together we discuss.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Next verse. Verse number 2. Somebody want to read or I will continue?
Hare Krishna, can I read?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Yada hi dvijavarasyeshu matravalokanugaterna samahita purushagates tadha visham gatam swashibhikam rahugada upadharya purushan adivahata aha he odharaha sadva atikramata kim iti vishamam uchate yanam iti. Translation purport by Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The palanquin, however, was very erratically carried by Jadabharata due to his sense of non-violence. As he stepped forward, he checked before him every 3 feet to see whether he was about to step on ants. Consequently, he could not keep pace with the other carriers. Due to this, the palanquin was shaking, and King Rahugana immediately asked the carriers, "Why are you carrying this palanquin unevenly? Better carry it properly." Purport. Although Jadabharata was forced to carry the palanquin, he did not give up his sympathetic feelings toward the poor ants passing on the road. A devotee of the Lord does not forget his devotional service and other favorable activities, even when he is in a most distressful condition. Jadabharata was a qualified Brahmana, highly elevated in spiritual knowledge, yet he was forced to carry the palanquin. He did not mind this, but while walking on the road, he could not forget his duty to avoid killing even an ant. A Vaishnava is never envious or unnecessarily violent. There were many ants on the path, but Jadabharata took care by looking ahead 3 feet. When the ants were no longer in his way, he would place his foot on the ground. A Vaishnava is always very kind at heart to all living entities. In his Sankhya Yoga, Lord Kapiladeva explains Suhridha Sarvadehinam. Living entities assume different bodily forms. Those who are not Vaishnavas consider only human society worthy of their sympathy, but Krishna claims to be the supreme father of all life forms. Consequently, the Vaishnava takes care not to annihilate untimely or unnecessarily any life form. All living entities have to fulfill a certain duration for being engaged in a particular type of material body. They have to finish the duration allotted a particular body before being promoted or evolved to another body. Killing an animal or any other living being simply places an impediment in the way of his completing his term of imprisonment in a certain body. One should therefore not kill bodies for one's sense gratification, for this will implicate one in sinful activity. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. So I'm not qualified since devotees as a service and for my own purification. I will try to explain whatever I understood from whatever we read in this verses. So now we are in the new chapter where there is a discussion happening between Jada Bharat and Maharaj Raghugana. Philosophical aspects, a lot of philosophical aspects will be in the discussion between both of them. So the first 8 verses is discussing about how this king Raghugana is offending the great Vaishnava Jada Bharat. So that is the first 8 verses. Now we are discussed today now first 2 verses. Also we read the introduction also. Then how later how Jada Bharata is replying to Raghugana, that we will see in the second section. And then after hearing the reply from Jada Bharat, then Raghugana understands that this person is not a normal person. He is an elevated spiritual personality. So that Raghugana humbly submits himself before the Jada Bharat. And then Raghugana tries to ask questions and Jada Bharata will answer those questions. So this is the section we are going to discuss in this chapter number 10. So today we will discuss from this first 2 verses how Jada Bharat was forced to carry the palanquin. So here the description is given who is King Raghugana. Raghugana is the ruler of Sindhu and Sevaya, and he was on the way to his ashrama called Kapila Ashrama. So normally in the olden days, we all know the king or queen, they are carried in the palanquins. 4 people normally they will carry, and the king will be sitting or queen will be sitting. So once in that way, they saw that one person was out of 4, only they had 3 people to carry the palanquin. So they saw that they need one more person for support. Then on the nearby area, they saw Jada Bharat. They saw he is very capable, young and strong. So voluntarily or forcibly, they asked him to carry the palanquin. So sometimes one point we have to understand, externally we may not notice a Vaishnava or how elevated a Vaishnava is. Because this is internal. A person's spiritual knowledge is not external, it is internal. Material things externally you can see somebody is wealthy, the way he dresses, the way he has his whatever gadgets and other car and other things. By external way, we can understand this person is a rich person, this person is a poor person. But spiritual people cannot be estimated like that by external means, because they may be very elevated, but externally they may appear like a normal people. In scriptures, there are a lot of incidents where sometimes people are, even physically deformed. And, the Ashtavakra Gita also, where he was like, the sage was bent and the king was thinking that this person is like this physically. And that's how this whole Ashtavakra Gita came. So, because of the discussion. So, like that, we can see that externally we cannot judge a person's how he is spiritually elevated. And also, second thing is, today maybe that person is spiritually low also, and tomorrow maybe he will quickly elevate himself. That is also another factor. We cannot think that today this person is in Krishna consciousness is very less. We cannot mock at him, because maybe we are the same level to after 1 year or 2 years. That person may instantly change and gradually elevate also, or quickly elevate himself. So all these things are there because of the mercy of the Lord. Anything can happen at any time. So here, Jada Bharat was externally seen as a person who can help to carry the palanquin, but they did not understand that he was such an elevated devotee. So then, as a devotee, he is not bothered that they are being engaged in this kind of work. The devotee is not much carried out or disturbed by the external situations. So he agrees to carry the palanquin, as we read today, the translation purport. It's all very self-explanatory only. Here Prabhupada very nicely writes that in second verse, what we are seeing, when Jada Bharat is agreeing to carry, he is always constantly checking whether he don't want to kill any living entity. So he's seeing that because on the ground normally the ants are crawling. So he is very careful that while he is walking, he don't want to kill any ants because of his movements. So that was the thing, the Vaishnava. So it is said that the whole Vaishnava philosophy, there are two, the essence is only two things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the whole Vaishnava philosophy is aimed at only two things. One is Jivadaya and second is Namaruchi. So yesterday class also we discussed the same point. Jivadaya means compassion to all living entities. And Namaruchi means taste in chanting the holy name. So whole Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam is aimed at that Jivadaya and Namaruchi. So here you can see as a Vaishnava is having tremendous Jivadaya, like so much compassion for the living entities that even while he's carrying the palanquin, he makes sure that he don't want to hurt or kill any ants. So he stops in between because other three people are walking fast and this Jadabharat is in between stopping to see that if there are any ants or he want to slow down a little bit. That is creating an imbalance in the palanquin. And the king who is sitting inside the palanquin is naturally getting disturbed. And he's actually asking immediately carriers, why are you carrying like this? You should carry it properly. So this is the second is about describing about the erratic movements, how this palanquin is taken and how the king is getting upset because of this. And he's chastising the carriers. This is second verse. So here we will go to Srila Prabhupada purport. So although Jadabharat was forced to carry the palanquin, he did not give up his sympathetic feeling towards the poor and prancing on the road. So here this is the mood of the devotee. A devotee of the Lord does not forget his devotional service and other favorable activities even when he is put in the most distressful condition. The one thing we should always remember, a pure devotee of the Lord, he will not think himself much. This is one secret. The pure devotee of the Lord, he will not think about himself. He always thinks about others' welfare. This is the mark of a devotee. Whereas a selfish person, if you see, he is always thinking about himself. From the day he is getting up, morning, up to night, he will always think about himself. He does not care about others. Even sometimes if the selfishness is more, they will not care about their own family members also. But a pure devotee is actually opposite. He rarely thinks about himself. He does not think how he is dressing himself, how he is walking, but he is always thinking how I can help others, how I can make them Krishna conscious. This is a very wonderful situation. Today, why stress is coming? When we are too much thinking about ourselves, we are coming into stress. But imagine if somebody is thinking about others' welfare, he will not put into stress like this. So this is the mood of a devotee. Here we can see that is being exhibited by Jadabharat. That is always, even though he is in whatever condition, he is always thinking about compassion for other living entities. And Jadabharat is a very highly qualified Brahmana, highly elevated in spiritual knowledge, but still he was forced to carry the palanquin. If somebody materially, they are in a position, if you ask them to do something, they will tell, I am a very big person. Why you are asking me to do like that? Again, spiritual knowledge means very humble. It makes a person very humble. And even though Jadabharat is in such a qualified position, he agrees to carry the palanquin. So these are some of the qualities of the devotees mentioned in this purport. He did not mind that while walking, and he can see he could not forget his duty to avoid killing an even. The same thing we also read, there's a story of Mrigari, the hunter, where he was a very, very cruel hunter. Before becoming a devotee, he was trying to kill the animals and he will enjoy when he's releasing the arrow will hit the deer or the animals in the forest. The animals will actually flap in pain because they are half killed. They're not fully killed. When some animals are half killed, what happens? It will be trembling in pain for so much time. If you kill one time, it will die. But if you kill half kill, it is a very pathetic situation. So the Mrigari hunter was so cruel that he will not kill it completely. He will only half kill using his arrow. And that animal will be trembling in pain and crying. And the Mrigari hunter will be enjoying by seeing that. Sometimes children, if you see when they are small, they will try to do like this for some insects or something because they don't know. And the more the insect is in pain, they laugh. So like that, the Mrigari hunter was so cruel. But Narada Muni, one time, the association of Narada Muni, he got by mercy. And Narada Muni instructed him that this killing is not good for you. And by the association of Another Muni, he transformed into a devotee. That's a big story, how he went to his family members and the family members told they will not take his sin. And hearing all this, he went to the river and he became a sadhu. And all the village people started giving him food because he became a sadhu. And next time when Narada Muni and his another saint, he was coming with Parvata Muni on the forest, same Mrigari hunter, he now became a sadhu. He is running to give obeisances to this spiritual master. On the way, he is seeing the ants and immediately is slowing down and he is trying to brush away the ants. So the whole heart is transformed. So that is a spiritual, whatever Krishna consciousness can do, it is a transformation of heart. Prabhupada again says that it is not external, that we put a kantimala, we put tilak. It is a only external symbol. But actual transformation takes place inside our heart, that we become very, very compassionate. Our lust is getting transformed into love. Our anger is transformed into patience. And our greediness is transformed into contentment. Like that, every negative anartha is changing into a positive quality within the heart. So that transformation you can see when one becomes a devotee. And when the transformation is happening, then we can understand that we are progressing in our spiritual life. If this transformation is not happening, then we should know that we are only attached to the external rituals and we are not really taking the essence of the scriptures. So here we can see that Jada Bharat is very compassionate, that he is very compassionate for the ants which are crossing on the path. A Vaishnava is always very kind to all, at heart, at all living entities. Suryam Sarva Bhutanam, Krishna also says like that. In his Sankhya Yoga, Lord Kapila Dev, we already discussed about Lord Kapila Dev and Sankhya Yoga in the previous canto, explains Surya Sarva Dehinam. Surya means heart to heart friend. Sarva Dehinam means to all entities who are having the body. Living entities assume different bodily forms. Those who are not Vaishnavas consider only human society worthy of their sympathy. Like if you take other religions, there are other major religions around the world. They think that human beings are worth, but they kill the animals for their food. So they think that only human beings are very valuable. They think if I kill animal will not cry. If my body is cut, I am in pain. If same way, if you cut the body of an animal, same pain is there for that animal also. It is also crying in pain. So somebody they see the slaughterhouse, whoever visit a slaughterhouse, they will definitely change into vegetarian, because so much cruelty is happening within that four walls of the slaughterhouse. People don't see whoever is eating that food also. They don't see what is happening behind the screen. They get a nice food or something. With all this preparations, they just try to enjoy. But behind that, what happens within the four walls of the slaughterhouse, the animals are crying in pain. That they are not able to see. And they are thinking that we are very compassionate to the fellow people. So that is a very, very wrong misconception. So here, that's what Prabhupada is writing. All living in this here, those who are not Vaishnavas, who are not surrendered to Lord Krishna, consider only human society worth of their sympathy. But Krishna claims to be the supreme father of all lives. Krishna says, Sarva Yonishu Kauntaya Aham Bija Prajapitaha. Krishna says in Bhagavata that I am the seed-giving father for all living entities. Consequently, the Vaishnava takes care not only to annihilate untimely or unnecessary any life form. So when people are killing these animals for eating, that means their life cycle is stopped in between. Like whatever you say, a sheep or goat, it has to live for some more years. But what they do, they will cut because they want to eat it. So that untimely death is happening. All living entities have to fulfill a certain duration for being engaged in a particular type of material body. So that is also there. They have to finish the duration allotted to a particular body before being promoted or evolved to another body. Killing an animal or any other living being simply places an impediment in the way of his completing his term in the imprisonment of a certain body. So if you are killing an animal, what happens? That progress of the animal is checked actually. It is not getting the next form immediately. One should therefore not kill bodies for one's sense gratification, for this will implicate one in sinful activity. So that's why we have this one of the four regulative principles is no meat eating. So which is very, very important principle. to be followed for people who are in Krishna consciousness, because Prabhupada writes it, one should not therefore kill bodies for one's sense gratification, for this will implicate one in sinful activities. In material life also we need to suffer because we are harming, because there is a Newton third law, every action has equal and opposite reaction. The more you give pain to other living entities, the more pain we will experience in our life here also. That's why today, even though the technology has developed, people are still in misery. So much calamities are happening because we are giving pain. So we have to get pain. So that is very, very important thing. We should not interfere with other living entities' life for our own enjoyment. And that is being very much stressed here in this purpose by Srila Prabhupada. And it is very, very important that we follow very strictly this principle if you want to progress in Krishna consciousness. Because killing an animal will not only hamper our spiritual life, also it will hamper our material life. Both ways it is affecting. In material life, we have to get pain, and in spiritual life, we will lose our progress because we are engaged in sinful activity. Hare Krishna. So devotees, please can feel free to you can unmute and you can express your realizations or your understanding on this verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I think next two verses are small. Shall we?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, yes.
Go for that.
Because
I mean,
these four verses are actually all this Raghunatha appending Jadabharat only. No,
yeah,
this
three.
no four. No, no. Yeah, we can read, Prabhu. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
who is reading verse number 3? Somebody want to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, please. Go ahead, Bhagavad.
अथत ईश्वर वचः सोपालम्भं मुपकर्णोऽप्य पायतीर्याक्षजित्क मनस्तत्त्वं विज्ञापयाम्भं बभूहुः अथत ईश्वर वचः सोपालम्भमुपकर्णोऽप्य पायतुरी मनस्तत्त्वं विज्ञापयाम बभूहुः. Translation. When the palanquin carries yet the threatening words of Maharaja Raghugana, they become very afraid of his punishment and began to speak to him as follows. Translation once again. When the palanquin carries yet the threatening words of Maharaja Raghugana, they became very afraid of his punishment and began to speak to him as follows. Purport. According to political science, a king sometimes tries to pacify his subordinates, sometimes classmates, then sometimes divides them and sometimes rewards them. In this way, the king rules his subordinates. The barrier of the palanquin could understand that the king was angry and that he could chastise them. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
We'll go next verse also, and after that, we'll explain together. Verse number 4. Who's reading? Verse number 4. Okay, I will read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay.
I'll try to read, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Navayam Naradev Pramatta Bhavan Niyamanupathaha Sadhaveva Vaha Mahaha Ayam Dhunaiva Niyuktopi Nadratum Vajrati Nanena Saha Vodhumuha Vayam Parayama iti. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Lord, please note that we are not at all negligent in discharging our duties. We have been faithfully carrying this palanquin according to your desire. But this man who has been recently engaged to work with us cannot walk very swiftly. Therefore, we are not able to carry the palanquin with him. Translation once again. O Lord, please note that we are not at all negligent in discharging our duties. We have been faithfully carrying this palanquin according to your desire. But this man who has been recently engaged to work with us cannot walk very swiftly. Therefore, we are not able to carry the palanquin with him. Purport. The other palanquin carriers were Shudras, whereas Jad Bharat was not only a high caste Brahman but also a great devotee. Shudras do not sympathize with other living beings, but a Vaishnav cannot act like a Shudra. Whenever a Shudra and a Brahman Vaishnava are combined, there will certainly be imbalance in the execution of duties. The Shudras were walking with the palanquin without at all caring for the ants on the ground, but Jadbharat could not act like a Shudra, and therefore difficulty arose. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Actually, some important point Srila Prabhupada is giving. Something which is very important we can consider to understand. The verse number 3, there is not much things to discuss here because it's a straightforward thing that the king sometimes, how they politically, sometimes pacify the subordinates, sometimes chastise them, sometimes divide them, sometimes reward them. In this way, king is ruling his subordinates. So the bearers of the palanquin could understand the king was angry and that he would chastise them. So this verse is only discussing about the king who is actually going to chastise threatening words, and they become very afraid. And then the palanquin carriers began to speak in the verse number 4. So we can go to verse number 4. So here in verse number 4, we can see that they are addressing the king, "O Lord, please note that we are not at all negligent in discharging our duties. So we have been faithfully carrying this palanquin according to your desire. But this man who has been recently engaged to work with us cannot walk very swiftly. Therefore, we are not able to carry the palanquin with him." So already we understand, if you read this, we understand that the palanquin carriers are replying to the king that we are doing our duty properly. Because of this man only, we are actually getting into issues. So here, main is Srila Prabhupada purport only. Because Prabhupada gives a psychological nature about how the Shudra behaves. Again, when we say Shudra, it is not based on the birth, it is based on the quality of the individual. So here, the psychological nature of a Shudra is presented, and the psychological nature of a Vaishnava or a Brahmana is presented. So here you can see the other palanquin carriers were Shudras, because normally the manual work is being engaged by Shudras only. We know that the Chaturvarna Maya system, the Brahmana is for preaching and for spiritual knowledge. The Kshatriya is to protect the country, and the Vaishya is to do trading and business and cow protection and agriculture, whereas the Shudra will help all the three Varnas. And again, that is because of the psychological nature of a person. We are deciding whether it is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Yesterday also, when we are discussing about the glories of Bhagavatam, we are discussing how Sutta Goswami, who is explaining to the sages of Naimisarya, he was from a lower caste. And the people who are listening Bhagavatam from him, they are from a higher caste. But because Sutta Goswami was having the knowledge of Krishna, so he was given the seat of Vyasasan, and all the Brahmanas were sitting and hearing to him. So it is not that a person just because of birth, he becomes a Shudra. That is one such example where we can quote to people that how so many people who have written the Ramayana, Valmiki, all are not from higher caste. Okay, and they are never promoting a god which is from Brahmana, because you know Krishna is not a Brahmana, he is a Kshatriya. So like that, we should understand whenever in the scripture there is a word Shudra is coming, it is not based on birth, it is because of the psychological nature of that individual person. So Jada Bharat was not only a high caste Brahmana, but he was also great devotees. So here the psychological nature of the Shudra is given. Shudra do not sympathize with other living beings. See, people who are normally eating this non-veg, they are like, they don't care. Let the animals suffer. Why I should? They are not sensitive. They want to be happy and they don't care for others' misery or distress. So that's why the statement is given. Shudras do not sympathize with other living. But a Vaishnava cannot act like a Shudra. See, Vaishnava, when he becoming a devotee, maybe before becoming a Vaishnava, he might have been also killing the animals for his own palate. But once he is becoming Vaishnava, he can understand, yes, that is a pain. I don't want to cause unnecessary pain to any jiva in this creation. So immediately he starts, this one. So Prabhupada writes in this book also, where perfect question, perfect answers. I think Prabhupada writes there, not that every vegetarian is non-violent, because sometimes they argue that Hitler is a vegetarian. Why he was like that? People argue always when you take up this topic of vegetarian, non-vegetarian. Always you should be very careful, especially in WhatsApp or when you're talking with your relatives or friends. People will always argue. They will say non-vegetarian only good and vegetarian is very bad. Like that, people argue. And if you keep on arguing, there is no end. And if you say people vegetarian are compassionate, immediately they will quote Hitler example. Hitler was a vegetarian, then why did he kill so many Jews? So there is no, first of all, there is no end for this argument. We should know very clearly. And no need to argue on this subject. Prabhupada said we are neither vegetarian nor non-vegetarian. We are Krishnatarian. Because if you say vegetarian, they'll say you are also killing plants. You are also killing the plants, because when you take the karela, kirai or something, this leaf, you are uprooting the entire plant. So they will tell you are also killing, because the plant also has life. So that's why Prabhupada said we are neither vegetarian nor non-vegetarian. We are not in both categories. We are Krishnatarian. Krishnatarian means whatever we take, we offer to the Lord. So the Lord will take whatever result because of that. And we are only taking, we are prasadarian, Krishnatarian or prasadarian. So that is one point we should always be very, very clear. And we should, and Prabhupada writes there that not all the vegetarians are non-violent. It's not that when if you take vegetarian, they are non-violent. But he's saying, but all the Vaishnavas, but if you become a devotee, you will become non-violent. Means you will not. So it is not the meaning that somebody is vegetarian, immediately they become very compassionate. Not there. But if you become a devotee, then you will become compassionate. So that is why here the word is written, Vaishnava cannot act like a Shudra. So whenever a Shudra and a Brahmana, now these two are two extreme personalities. The Shudra will not sympathize, whereas Vaishnava is Paradukhi Dukhi. Means he will see others' misery as his own misery. Whereas the Shudra, he does not care, other people are suffering on. And Kali Yuga, what happens? These people who are in the Shudra quality, they will occupy the higher post. So naturally, they will open more bar, all those things, all this slaughterhouse. They will give permission because they don't care what is happening. They just want to earn money through this business. So Prabhupada writes that in Bhagavatam, there is a prediction that this lower quality people will occupy the higher post. So they will set the rules for the country or state or whatever. We are seeing how politics is degrading because of not the right people at the right place. So the Shudras do not sympathize with other living beings, but whereas Vaishnava cannot act like Shudra. So when these two people are combined, there will be certainly imbalance in the execution of duties. Very important point. So the Shudra cannot get along with the Vaishnava. That's why people, sometimes the devotees are being criticized. Yesterday also we saw that ISKCON is being criticized that we are selling the cow to the butchers. Yeah, butchers. Actually, it is very strange, Yeah, it is very. Yeah, so they have ISKCON has sued for 100 crore defamation case. Sri Kumar Prabhu also posted that yesterday in the Srimad, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So it is like that. People don't, sometimes some people don't like devotees. Like a devotee, they know what they are doing. They're very compassionate. They don't even take tea or coffee because it is having the caffeine in that. So sensitive that even tea, coffee they are not taking. Forget about liquor, even tea, coffee, the basic thing which is accepted in the society, normal society, like a parent will never tell wrong if their children are taking tea or coffee. But if they will take liquor, they will chastise. But if they are taking tea, coffee, nobody says. But even ISKCON goes to the highest standard that because, it is accepted that tea and coffee has a caffeine. Caffeine means that kind of mild intoxicant. It's not like liquor, it's a mild intoxicant. That's why if you take coffee, we cannot stop it because it's an addiction. People who are taking tea, coffee, it is not easy to stop because it is an addiction. So, because it is having a mild stimulating factor called nicotine or caffeine. What will this caffeine will do? This caffeine will go directly to the brain. It is absorbed by the blood when you take tea or coffee, and it will go to the brain and it will create alertness. Alertness means you will not get sleep. You will be very alert. That's why people before driving, they take coffee or something. But over a Yes, over a period of time, what happens when you are continuously taking, your brain is programmed that if I want to become alert, then I need a cup of coffee. Then only brain will become alert. That's why this is discouraged. Because naturally we should be alert, but here you are stimulating your alertness by an external source. So the brain will be programmed in such a way that if I want alertness, then I should take at least 1 cup of coffee. That's why when people driving and all, they take coffee because their brain will be alert. So this is some kind of thing where Prabhupada says it's an artificial thing which is not required for the body. Tea and coffee is not a necessity for the body, but it will artificial stimulant. But once it becomes addiction, our brain is programmed in such a way that without tea, coffee, you cannot live your life. Okay, there are people who can live for 3-4 days without food, but just they will take only tea and coffee.
Yes.
Correct, no, Prabhu? Shikmar Prabhu?
Yes, very good.
They can live without food, but see, but at one stage it is difficult to live also. It is not easy. If you are habituated, from childhood, it's a little bit challenging to live that. So this is, but it is said that it is a stimulant, nerve stimulant. So in that level, people are there. In the ISKCON, devotees are in that level, and somebody is criticizing that selling the cow for butchers. How it is possible? How it will be fact? When we are having when the devotees are so much compassionate. So it's a false allegation. So there are always people, we should know when we are taking devotional service, not everybody will appreciate. I have seen many times in the college group also when we are there, people see that why you became like that. People ask like that. And some people appreciate that, yes, this is good. And some people criticize that you became like this. And second biggest challenge is this onion and garlic. So everybody can understand, non-vegetarian, everybody can understand, okay, non-vegetarian not good, you are killing animal. But again, if you go for onion and garlic, people say, oh, what you are doing is wrong. You will not get strength. You will not good.
Garlic is good for heart.
Immediately they will say. But our question is, when you go to an hospital, there are a lot of people with heart problem. Correct, Prabhu? There are a lot of people with heart problem. But everybody was taking onion and garlic in their life. Why they got heart problem? Everybody is getting. People who are taking onion and garlic are getting, or people who are not. It is not that people who are not taking onion and garlic, they only get heart problem. Everybody gets heart problem, and they are taking garlic from their childhood. So it is not actually, when the scriptures are saying, sadhus are saying, it is with a purpose, which we may understand, we may not understand. And if you at all we want for our good heart, there are equivalent to garlic. There are many things like walnut is there. So many things are there for good for heart. We can substitute with those things. So people will always criticize, or people will not be able to understand what a devotee is doing. But we should know that this is what our scriptures are telling. If I follow, it is good for me. It is good for me. That we should be thoroughly convinced. And so we should not be afraid of the criticism which we are facing in the path of devotional service. As Krishna says, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana. Our goal should be fixed. Yes, I want to go back to Krishna, and I will follow irrespective of whatever my surroundings they will tell. But of course, we will not hurt them. We should not hurt them. But we should know whatever we are doing is correct and it is good for us. That much we should be convinced. And the Shudras were walking with the palanquin without all carrying at the hands on the ground. But Jada Bharat could not act like a Shudra, and therefore difficulty arose. So that's why, if you have to see any opinion in this world, there is always, if you take food, there are one category of people supporting non-vegetarian and one category of people supporting vegetarian. So any concept you take in this world, there are always two parties. If you say God is having a form, there is another party telling God is not having a form. If you tell God is there, there is another party telling God is not there. So always for any opinion in this world, there are always two parties are there by default. So they will always argue, they will always fight. And that fight will never end. Till today, there is a debate that whether God is existing or not. It will not be solved. From the beginning of creation, this argument is there. So if we are convinced, yes, we should follow our path according to the calling of our heart. We should not just get distracted or disturbed by the comments which other people who are not following Krishna consciousness. That is very, very important. That Prabhupada is writing that when a Shudra, wherever a Shudra and Brahmana, Vishnu are combined, there will be certainly be imbalance in the execution of. So we should be very careful at that point. Hare Krishna. So I think we are at 10:30.
Already, Thank you, Prabhuji, for your wonderfully explaining the Krishnatarian. So
yes.
on the
Prabhupada explained
and
I'm
how
just
we can.
what Prabhupada said.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
I always, Prabhu, we should be very careful not to argue with this food subject.
Yes, yes. Importance of Krishnatarian.
Yeah. Recently, Sudha Murthy also, no, the Infosys chairman wife, she told about some food that I will not take non-veg, and if somebody will take non-veg in their spoon, I will not use their spoon. It became a national debate that how she can talk like that. So many people criticized her that why she spoke like that. You know, like that. These are very, very sensitive topics. Sensitive topics, especially with the belief in God, caste system, and food, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, and politics. These are very sensitive topics. When we are discussing in public, we should be very careful. We will tell we are Krishnatarian. We are not supporting either vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Whatever we take, we offer to the Lord and take, because we know He is the owner. He is giving us food.
Everything,
yeah. We are not getting food by technology.
Correct.
Food is never coming by technology. Food is coming through nature. So we are thanking Lord by offering the food. That's all. Our concept is very simple. Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prati. Krishna is telling, et karosi ajnasi ajivasi dadasi et tapasvasi kauntya tat kurusva madarpana. So Krishna is telling to offer, we are offering. That's all. We follow our scripture.
Correct.
No need for any debate or argument, heated argument.
Correct. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for giving this opportunity also. Hare Krishna.
Very much, Prabhu.
Anybody has any questions or doubt in today's discussion or any comments to add? Please feel free to add it. Hare Krishna.
Savanta Prabhu, Sarvada Madaji.
Yes, Madam, Hare Krishna Prabhu, always more points are here. So devotees always think of others. So to help others, just like yesterday, Jivadaya, right? And the two qualities. So this also the from when we are reading, we have to when we get these qualities, we will get them. So the highly. So the lot of stories are here, so there is no time. So thank you, Prabhu. Very.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your feedback. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Prabhuji, as you said, no, this vegetarian, this actually is a very complicated topic. But Prabhuji, when in my when my like in my duty place, some of my colleagues actually they are telling that why you are not eating all these things. And I am telling that okay, you whatever you want to eat, you eat, but don't like in that way we can argue with that, no, Prabhu, because even Sudhamurti,
my food is my choice. Like that we can say.
Yeah. Even Sudhamurti can claim that, okay, I'm a vegetarian. I won't touch the spoon which was taken by a non-vegetarian person. That is her way of this thing. But she can't even say that you should follow that.
The people will not leave Mataji. They will tell you she is discriminating based on, like why she will not touch. Why that means people will take in a different way.
No, that's different way from each and every religion, like even a Muslim religion also, if we say about this pig, they won't even, they...
Correct.
Yeah, they are hate, having that hatredness towards that point even. Taking the name even, they will make a problem. So they have their own points. We also have, because it's my right what to be taken, and our view we can claim to Prabhuji, because she was telling that okay, she does not want to take the spoon which was used by a non-vegetarian, or which was
you know that Mataji, big debate happened, right? For the big issues
I did not hear, Prabhuji, actually. Such kind of actual topic I wish to hear, but I am not in a Facebook or any other media.
Came in news.
Okay, news.
People are looking for this kind of issue to make issues. The moment you will tell no, they will make
service, no, Prabhuji. I don't want to eat such kind of things. I don't want to do all these things. It's my choice. So I can claim that, okay, I don't want. If you wish to eat, you wish to go for any other this thing. If you want to have tea or coffee or non-vegetarian or whatever you want, you can go for that. But it is my right. Yeah, that is why this our country is not a monarchy, it's a democratic country. We can have that right. Then why people are making a problem on that subject?
Yes.
In our session also, I am telling that okay, this Pentecost people, they are not wearing their ornaments. It's up to their belief. So
Yes,
one of
that's very good.
my colleagues, she was actually, she not with me now. She was a Pentecost. She was telling that your point of this eating not vegetarian and non, you are actually you are not eating any this garlic and all these things. Why you people are doing all these things? It's actually a useless thought and all these things. Then I asked, if it is so, then why you are not wearing ornaments? You are not wearing ornaments. You are actually following your customs. So my
Correct.
custom. That way we can argue, because then only, otherwise Hindus are always, they are actually keeping quiet for everything. And because of that, everything is happening nowadays, so much conversion. If we are ready to speak against the philosophy and our wishes, then
Yes.
Sudhamurti, and in my point of view, she is actually right. Maybe
Yes.
people make a problem. So
Yes.
actually, we should have that mentality. I don't want let them say whatever, but I want to say what it's like my philosophy. While going in India, even Kerala, putting tilak, actually we are thinking of other people, how they will feel, how they that is actually a main problem for Hindus. We should raise our point. We should
Yes.
why we
We
should
should be
fear.
proud actually. We should be
Yes,
proud.
Prabhuji. Kantimala,
Right.
we are these people. One of my supervisor, she asked, what drama you are doing, all these things. Even she was actually, that day, she was my in charge before, and she was almost same like my ADN. So she asked one day, she came for supervision. She asked, what is on your neck? Then I told, this is Tulasi Mala. Then she told, what drama you people are doing? Then I asked, this rosary mala you people are wearing. Then what about sister? What? Then she kept quiet. We should
Yeah.
have that right, Prabhuji. Then why
Correct.
we should keep quiet?
If
These
we are
people are
strong,
wearing. These
you
people are
have to
wearing
speak.
long and all these
Yes.
things. This is like no color, nothing, no this thing. But the Christian people are wearing. I'm not against Christianity, but point when they are raising means we should have that
Yes.
capacity. That point of that time,
Yes.
actually, we did not say anything.
Like one time Prabhupada also asked, like one person asked why you are wearing tilak or what is this on the neck. Prabhupada asked what is in your neck. He was wearing a tie. He told this is the same thing. He told like you are wearing a tie. You think that's part of gentleman. We are wearing this part of a this one. So as you think the tie is important, we think we know understand this is important for us. This is our mark. So like
Yes,
that.
Ruji.
No. So
Yeah,
that we have to
people are
defend like that.
there. People, so many people are there to criticize, but we should
Yes.
also raise some points. Why we
Yes.
are
Why
wearing?
Mataji, why
If we
I
are
raise
wearing,
this point?
yes,
Because
true.
what you say, that point everybody should know that they should be able to defend and not get disturbed by all this criticism. That is why I explained that point. We should
Yes,
know, we should
Guruji.
be careful. At the same time, we should not be disturbed by others' criticism. We should be able
Yes,
to
Guruji.
we can always defend our counterpart, but not everybody will be in that. Some people will be disturbed also. That's why the point is raised.
Yes, Guruji. That is actually correct point. If we are ready to speak about our philosophy, we should have the capacity. What all things coming in our way to tolerate. Yeah, if
Better
tolerant
always
power is there, no
we
issue.
can always tell it is part of our scripture. As you respect your scripture, we are respecting our scripture. That's all. That is the
Yes, Guruji.
easiest
Because
answer.
we are, yes, we are facing so many problems. Beginning time, I also face so many problems, but I fought with them actually. But nowadays, actually, they are with full respect. They are actually considering, okay, you are not eating all these things. So whenever I am going for evening shift and all, when the colleague, which like today also, if one Christian is with me, suppose, and she actually, whenever she's doing duty with me, she won't actually bring any non-vegetarian food, like respecting me. Okay, you are
Good.
not eating. So sitting together and eating non-vegetarian with you, it's actually I don't like that. People started talking. Beginning, if we are keeping quiet, means they will sit on our head. So we should not give that chance. We should have that at least we should have the knowledge, and we should raise in a proper manner, not in an
And
arguable
there is
manner. At least we
one
can
good thing, Mataji. One, if you discuss, maybe they will also change. That possibility also there.
Yes, Prabhuji. Some of their views also slowly they are like, at least they can't even follow, but they are telling, your way of life is at least you are not harming any other, and if you are eating vegetarian food, that we can see in your nature.